everybody.
Mr. Davila?
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Now, I already time served you on your capias, so we don't really have to talk about that. But what we do have to talk about is the new charges you received when you got arrested on November 24th. And what you need to consider in deciding how you want to plead, of course, you have the right to hire an attorney. You have a right to plead not guilty because you have the right to set it for a trial. But the last consideration you need to make is that they are related to why the police officers interacted with you on the 24th. And for that reason, they are related to the higher charges that took you first to Potter County. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. So if I plead guilty on those charges, is there any way I'll be able to get out so I could go to my bonds and talk to my bonds on that?
No matter what you decide today, you're getting out today.
Okay,
If you plead not guilty, you're getting personal bonds, which means it's a guarantee contractually that you make to the city of Amarillo not to miss the date and time on your bond.
Yes, ma'am.
If you plead guilty or no contest, your time served on everything except violation 2, which is no liability insurance. You still would owe a little bit on that. However,
Will I be able
the whole
to?
reason the police interacted with you is they pulled you over on these traffic tickets. Then inside your car, there was more problems.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I felt it was an unlawful search, boss lady. Mom, I have no felonies for them to search my car. I had no smell. They asked to
Then
search.
you might choose to plead not guilty if you feel like the stop was unlawful.
And I had no front plate, but the search was unlawful.
Okay, then do you want to plead not guilty and bond out and come see me on the date and time of your bond?
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
I'll tell you each of the charges. First is vehicle failed to properly display a license plate. Not guilty because you want to bond out, or guilty or no contest. How do you plead?
I want to bond get out today, so I had to.
Well, no matter what, you're getting out today. So
Okay.
on your not guilty plea, you're gonna, as you're leaving the jail, you're signing a personal bond. It's
Is
gonna
that a
give
PR
you.
bond?
I'm sorry.
It's a PR bond, right?
Yes.
And that's if I put not guilty, right?
Right. You're getting out today, even if you
If I put guilty, I won't have to do no PR bond on that. I would just have to go to court on those.
But it could be used against you if you have a trial.
Okay, I'll just do not guilty on that, boss lady.
Okay, the second charge, just so you know, is called no liability insurance. A second, if you had some insurance on that day, bring it so I can dismiss that charge. That's a PR bond. Use of a wireless communication device. That fine range is $100 to $200. Again, do you want to plead not guilty to that? That's why they pulled you over.
I plead guilty. I'll play guilty on all of them because I did have no license plate. I was on my phone.
But you said it was an unlawful search.
But I want to do my lawful search. I guess I might have to, because that will help me do my lawful search on them, right? To get my case and my attorney to get the lawful search. I would like to do that. And I'm
So
sorry.
today you're going to plead not guilty on everything. Use of a wireless communication device. So when you're leaving the jail, you're going to sign 5 PR bonds. You don't lose your jail credit by pleading not guilty. I'll still look at all your jail credit. You're going to be processed out today, and you're going to sign 5 PR bonds on each of the charges you got. No, 4, 5. No driver's license is the 5th. Okay, so on the bond, it's going to tell you when to appear at my courthouse. The deputy in the back has a map with directions. I know you don't like coming to my courthouse because you didn't come after you got out of jail the last time.
I did get into some shit, and I'm sorry for cussing, but I got into some family problems, and I ended up getting shot not too long ago. And I've been working at Whataburger, and they have me at 40 hours a week. Like, I did try to get my charge taken care of at Potter. I called and was gonna get a walkthrough, and work my job didn't want to give me no time off. And I barely, like right now, I'm barely fighting with them right now to keep my job with them. I work at Whataburger. I work at Whataburger on Georgia Street. I work 40 hours a week, and I'm trying to take care of all my stuff because my grandma don't want me to be in jail.
Okay, so today when you leave, you're going to sign those bonds. They'll give you a date and time to appear at my courthouse. Don't miss it, okay?
She's actually saving his tuchus right now because he has higher charges. I'm assuming when they searched his vehicle, the what he's calling an unlawful search, which it's not, but he believes that it is. When they searched his vehicle, they probably found something. And so he's facing higher charges in another court. These are the least serious of his charges. So by pleading not guilty, the prosecution can use these charges to, as leverage to drop them and amend the higher charge. So she's really saving his butt. Because if he pled guilty to all of these, then there would be nothing to bargain with the prosecution.
In any way I could have my bondsman pick up those bonds for me?
Say that again?
Is there any way I could, because on the bonds, I already on bonds, is there any way I could put my bonds on those, with those?
No, you don't want to pay him for my 5 bonds. My bonds are separate than those bonds. You've got a bail bondsman on those charges from Potter County, and you don't have a bail bondsman on mine. Mine don't cost you any money. If you put him with my bonds, then you have to pay him for them.
No, it's just because I might want, that's what I feel like wanting to do, because last time I had a PR bond, I went through all the process and nobody, I tried to get my court date, it was nothing. I
But
called
when
here.
you're leaving the jail, it gives you a court date. Just don't miss it, okay? You can do it. If you work at Whataburger, you cannot miss a court date that you signed.
I let my boss know and my grandma and my mom, she's very strict with me right now. That's who's taking care of my mom. She's in prison time. She used to be an ex-drug addict, so she knows. And she sees it going in a bad path and she doesn't want that.
Okay, well, I bet she's pretty unhappy with you right now. You
Yes,
can
ma'am.
return to your pod.
So I'll be released here in an hour or so?
Sign the bond and get your date.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Let me go home today. Thank you. You have a good
I'll
Thanksgiving.
see you next week.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Jackson. Mr. Jackson, the charge from April 13th, 2015. Do you remember it?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Drug paraphernalia, possession of a socket. That fine range is $1 to $500. Do you want to plead not guilty because you want to hire an attorney or have a trial?
I'm going to plead guilty on that, ma'am.
Wait. I'm sorry?
Plead guilty on that. I went to prison for 10 years, like, when I got arrested, and I didn't get out of jail for 10 years, so I'm trying to.
On your guilty plea, fine and court costs is $616. With $300 jail credit, you still owe $316. Is there any reason you cannot appear at my courthouse on Monday? Be here at 1:30 for the hearing at 2.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand what happens if you fail to appear?
I've been sworn for arrest.
You would. It would be called a capious warrant. Next time you'd sit it out, you'd be in jail a lot longer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you know where I'm located?
Tyler Street?
4th Street side of the Amarillo Police Department. I'll see you Monday. Be here at 1:30 for the hearing at 2.
Ma'am, thank you.
All right, see you soon. Brett Kashuba.
Yes, ma'am.
This charge is called public intoxication. The fine range is $1 to $500. Court costs are $81. Now, it makes sense to me because I'm familiar with the law, but sometimes to people, it doesn't make sense. It has extra consequences outside of just the fine amounts that we're talking about. It has consequences to your driver's license. The law says that if somebody's convicted of public intoxication, you get convicted if you either plead guilty or no contest, or if you're found guilty at trial, then the law in the state of Texas tells me as the judge that I suspend your driver's license 30 days, beginning 11 days from the conviction, and I order you to take an alcohol education class and do alcohol-related community service. So I know that to you who is in jail, that's a lot to be thinking of. And so that's yet another reason, if you choose to plead not guilty and come see me in person, it's a lot easier to understand what all your options are when I'm talking to you in person rather than in Zoom. But you've got to appear if you bond out, you can't miss that bond hearing day.
Right.
And then I will talk to you about maybe what happened if you want to set it for a trial. If you don't want to set it for a trial, do you have a good driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
Then we would talk to you about ways to try to keep that from hurting your driver's license.
Yep.
So do you want to bond out by pleading not guilty, or do you want to plead guilty or no contest? And then when you come and see me about your balance, I'll talk to you again about those consequences.
I'll plead guilty.
Are you sure? I'm gonna suspend your driver's license. I'm doing my best to encourage you to plead not guilty and come see me. on the bond.
I'll
Huh?
plead, I'll plead not guilty.
Because this is the first time you've had an issue. Have you been in Amarillo for long?
I mean, I've been here in Amarillo for 7 years.
Okay, so I know we're not familiar with you. Let me just look again to be sure that's true.
I've never had a charge or ever been to jail or anything like that. This is my first time.
Is your family here?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're leaving the jail, you're gonna sign a document called a personal bond. If you miss your bond hearing, you owe the city $500 in addition to still having this charge pending. So don't miss that bond hearing. It's like I said, it's a date and time for me to talk to you in detail about all the options that are available to you to try to avoid a driver's license suspension. Do you drive for work?
I don't actually. I don't have a car right now, so.
What do you do for a living?
Right now I'm actually bowring for Salvation Army. I'm homeless right now, so
You don't really have that address you gave my clerk. Is that your family's address?
yeah, that's the one on my driver's license and
Well, if I send mail there, is that a good address or not?
yes, ma'am, it is. My dad would just give it to me.
Your who would give it to you?
My dad would just give me the mail.
Why don't you get to live with your mom or dad anymore?
Because I used to smoke a lot of weed.
Now, I would kick you out for that too. Okay, all right, so you're gonna sign a bond.
Okay.
And it's gonna tell you when to appear at my courthouse. Where do you usually stay when you're homeless?
Salvation Army.
So I'm walking distance from the Salvation Army, okay?
Mhm.
All right, I'll see you on the date and time of your bond.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Luna. Okay, this charge is from June 4th of 2019. It's called tampering, change, modify, multi-channel video info system. That fine range is $1 to $500. Do you want to plead not guilty because you want to hire an attorney or have a trial?
What would be my best option?
Well, if you plead
That's
not
correct.
guilty, that's fine, but you've had a PR bond before and you missed your next court date. So you would have to call a bail bondsman to be sure you appeared for your court hearing. If you plead guilty or no contest, finding court costs are $604. I'm giving you $450 jail credit. So you would still owe $154 on that one. You would still have to come see me on the first business day after you get out of jail. So
That's
it
fine.
depends on whether or not you want to set it for trial.
I would like to do it where I come see you for the remainder of the,
Okay, so then to that, you either plead guilty or no contest, meaning you waive your right to a trial. How do you plead?
guilty.
On your guilty plea, finding court costs is $604 with $450 jail credit. You owe $154. Now, these charges from January 12th of 2021 over on Georgia Street in a Buick LeSabre. Do you remember being pulled over by a motorcycle officer?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
First charge from that day is called no seatbelt driver. Fine range is 25 to 50. Court costs are 184. Do you want to plead not guilty because you want to hire an attorney or have a trial?
No, I plead guilty.
Okay, on your guilty plea, finding court costs is 234. Your time served. Secondly, you're not time served on this one. No liability insurance filed as a second. Fine range is 350 to 1,000. Do you want to plead not guilty because you had liability insurance that day, or because you want to hire an attorney or have a trial?
Well, what would be my best option on that?
Well, if you had liability insurance, you should bring it, or you can plead not guilty and set it for a trial. But
Well,
you
is that-
said that you pled guilty to no seatbelt driver, so
Oh, yeah, well, I didn't have insurance on that day.
So how do you plead?
Guilty.
On your guilty plea, finding court cost is $733 with $450 jail credit. So 733 less 450 means you owe 283. So you're not time served on that. Operating a vehicle with an expired plate, was that vehicle saver? How do you plead?
Guilty.
On your guilty plea, finding court costs is 242, time served. Lastly, no driver's license. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Okay, on your guilty plea, finding court costs is 260, again, time served. Okay, so 154, 283. And then lastly, sold to June 4th of 2019, a drug paraphernalia possession of a joint over on Georgia Street. Do you want to plead not guilty? That was associated to that changing or modifying the multi-channel info system. How do you plead to the drug paraphernalia possession that day?
Guilty.
Okay, on your guilty plea, finding court costs is $651, $450 jail credit. You owe 201. So 201 plus 154 plus 283. Hey, Karen, am I right when I say 638? So you have a balance that's remaining. Is there any reason you can't be here on Monday at 1:30 for a hearing at 2 to talk about how to pay that?
No, ma'am, I can be there.
And do you understand what happens if you failed up here?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And you know where I'm located, right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Don't forget about me. It's a long time between now and Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't forget to come in because I don't want to see these turn into capias. Okay?
Correct.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll see you Monday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. You can return to your pod.
Yeah, I came in here late last night. Does it say what pod I'm in? Okay, awesome.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.